I know we had a great week of practice. I'm excited to watch our guys go out and play. Obviously, we were tested a week ago. We had a great week off, or an open week, which we really didn't have off. We went out in pads both days, got a lot of good work done and fixing things that we needed to get fixed. We've had a great week of practice, so questions?
You have your initial availability report ready?
Yeah, it's ready. It's ready. It's always ready. It's always ready. So it'll be out.
Do you have a preview for us? I mean, we're all here.
8 p.m. You got 7 hours, 6 hours and 58 minutes. But not really. It's interesting.
Last year, you guys didn't lose until the 8th game of the year. This year, obviously, that happens a little bit sooner. Is there some benefit to maybe losing a game earlier in the year, learning from it?
I think so. I mean, I think you get on that high of a 7-game win streak and you think you're invincible, and then you don't get it back. Even though we played some really good football like we did last week. I mean, besides the lack of execution, it was a ball game. I mean, you guys probably enjoyed it, overtime game and all that. But we want to get the win. But no, I think it's good to get hit in the mouth early. Non-conference game, huge. Obviously, we get into the ACC play. We know those are the ones that count.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, just after 2 weeks, how do you feel about what the running game, the running offense has put on the field in practice, and maybe how they've improved?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good every week. Steve, I feel good. Week in, week out. We got to go out and produce tomorrow, or Saturday, I should say. But we got to go produce. So I'll let you know after the game if I feel good. But we practice the same, every week, and so we'll see how we execute.
The defense has a challenge against the run game today. They've been pretty consistent other than the end of the West Virginia game. How are you feeling about the challenge that Louisville brings?
You love the challenge. I mean, they got great tailbacks. They got 3 of them that are really productive. Braun does a great job in the run game. You said we were great until the end. No, we weren't great a whole game. So we weren't good the entire game. I didn't like how we fit. I didn't like how we executed on defense. That's not what we look like, even though they had 60 rushes and our goal is to give up 3.3 per rush, and I think we gave up 3.8 per rush. But there were some plays that shouldn't happen. It shouldn't have got to that. We shouldn't let it happen. We got to make them one-dimensional. We let them be two-dimensional the entire game, and that's a problem.
Coaching is obviously, or college coaching is an intimate fraternity. Coaches have different reputations, different things they're known for. Just what would you say about Braun? Just kind of what his reputation is, what he's known for, maybe what he's brought to the game just as a coach.
Yeah, I think he's an excellent football coach. I mean, he's had success wherever he was, Western Kentucky, Purdue, back at Louisville. Had great results when he was there with Petrino at Louisville back years ago when we played him. So I just think he has a system that he believes in, and I think I think it works. And I think he does a great job with quarterbacks. He's a quarterback whisperer, and I just got a ton of respect for what he does on offense.
These quarterbacks, what stands out about Moss and his skill set?
I think he's an accurate passer. I think he's relaxed. He's a veteran guy that's played a lot of football. So I think that's what stands out. He's not in a away game is not going to surprise him. He's been there. He's an older guy, and he's a veteran.
You and Cade, Eli have talked a lot about taking what the defense gives you on offense, and that's how you want to play. How often do you deviate from that to say, hey, we want to get Des hot early in the game, or X, Y, or Z hasn't had a touch in a while, like we want to.
Well, we're always trying to get our playmakers touches. I mean, you're looking at Kenny's got to get the ball. Poppy's got to get the ball. Des has obviously got to get the ball. So I mean, you're mixing it up. You got different plays for different guys, and but those are plays that that you have. It's not like these explosive plays that you're setting up and trying to have big explosive plays every series that you go in. But there's always a deep. It all depends on what the coverage is. So there's plays for everybody.
Have you seen opposing defenses focus on one receiver more than the other, or pay more attention to one guy?
Not really. I don't think you can do that. I don't think really you can do that against us with all the shift in motion we do. I think they got respect for really all 3 of our guys out there. I think and throw Deuce in there as well. I mean, Deuce will be, in my opinion, he's a starter, and I think they got respect for all of them.
Kenny's been a little bit quiet compared to the other wide receivers. Did you guys talk in the off week just about capitalizing on the opportunities that he has been getting?
Yeah, that comes down to protection and making sure we get the ball to him. And there's been times he's been open if you go back and watch the tape. So we just got to get it to him.
When we talked to Blue Hicks when he first arrived here, he told us that he had already knew during their bowl game for Louisville that he was going to leave. Have you talked to him at all about just where his mind is at heading into this game?
No, I hope his mind is on what he's got to do. It comes down to where you played in the past doesn't matter. I'm sure it'll be an emotional game for him, but you don't want to get too emotional. I think we got to stay in our lane, and Blues just got to worry about what Blues has to do. You can have fun after the game.
How have your defensive tackles, what have you thought of how your defensive tackles played through the first three?
I think we've been pretty solid in it. That's, when you talk about the run game, I have not been disappointed with what they've done in there. I mean, Nick James continues to play at a high level. I've been really, really impressed with the way he practices every day. He's getting better every week. And then you got Francis and obviously, Sean Fitzsimmons and Ghost. He gives us different stuff. He's got a high motor. I love how he plays as well.
If you can get pressure from the tackles, is that kind of an X factor because it opens so much up for the ends, for the linebackers? It makes you really tough to stop.
Yeah, I mean, if you can put pressure, at least squeeze the pocket. I mean, defensive tackle. I mean, there's no Aaron Donald out there, right? There's no Kalijah Cansey right now that I can speak of. But by the end of the year, maybe we do have one of those. But those elite guys like that are hard to find. But we've got guys that like I said, Nick James had a great week pass rush, and he just seems to play up as the season goes on. I'm really happy with what he's done. But if we can get pressure over D line, that's a bonus. But the big thing is when you got edge rushers, that we got to push the pocket. We can't be, the D line can't be sitting at the line of scrimmage and the D ends up the field and you leave, lanes between those two where a quarterback can step up and scramble.
How would you assess the play of Cruz and Javon through three and just the overall safeties room?
Cruz has played really well. I mean, he can make more plays, and obviously the free safety. Javon's got a tough job. Him and Kavir are out there to the field. Baines, that is. But they got a tough job. I think they've done a solid job. I think I've been happy with what they played. There's a couple. There's the plays. Going in. We didn't play great at the last play going into overtime where they threw that touchdown pass. Our leverage wasn't good, and that'll get you beat. So paying attention to those details all the time. It's about consistency. You can be good for 90 plays out of 100, but those other 10 plays matter.
You talk about that touchdown that Javon gave up. Where's his mind at? Just in terms of bouncing back after those plays.
Javon's a captain. He's been through it. He's seen it before. He knows he's not going to be perfect, and neither is the offense. But no, Javon, he's a football player. I think that kid. He's never down or up. He's like this all the time. He's a football player. Again, like I said, he's got a tough job, and played a lot of plays. I think he had over 90 plays last week.
Go back to the defensive tackles for a second. They've talked all offseason about rushing the passer, getting sacks.
Who did? I'm sorry, Dave.
The defensive tackles.
Okay, defensive tackles talked about.
I mean, are sacks necessary for them to really do their job and to be productive? I guess
No.
Yeah.
Those are nice flashy plays, and we want them to get sacks, but you get in a problem on defense when guys are trying to make too many plays. Okay, and you start to go out of your lane and try to make something happen. I don't care if it's the D tackles, the D ends, and all the way back to the safeties. You have to play within the framework of the defense, and everybody's got to do their job for you to be successful. And whether it's a defensive end spilling, to a backer, or a backer being in the right spot. I mean, those things. But I think sometimes you get into those guys that think that I'm a playmaker, I got to make a play, and that's when you have problems. So our guys can't do it all by themselves. Kyle Lewis, for example, he's just got to play Kyle Lewis ball. Kyle got to where he is today because he was detailed and does everything the right way. And everybody on defense has got to be the same way. The plays will come to you. You can't make them come to you. When you make them come to you is when you're going to have an issue.
Obviously, you know what to expect out of your guys, but has there been anyone that surprised you or exceeded those expectations through those first three games?
On where, in anything?
Any.
I'll go back to Sean Lee. I mean, I've been impressed with him. I think we talked about that maybe Monday. Just because he's a freshman, how many freshmen play 90 snaps and play as well as he did. So he's been really good. Talked about Nick James. I like what he's doing. Zach Carruthers has been good on offense. We got a lot of older guys up there that doesn't shock me. We got to play better. We got to execute better around. But there's all older guys. No one's really. I'd say there's no new guys out there. I mean, I guess Bryce Yates. Bryce Yates finds wish he'd got scored a touchdown instead of he set Kenny up for a block and then he cuts back and Kenny can't block for him. He should have cut back to the 2/3 of the field instead of the 1/3 of the field. We score a touchdown instead of get a field goal on that drive. We can't get the ball down to the 5 and not get in. Little things like that will get you beat. And again, that was really Bryce should score a touchdown there. I mean, that should be a touchdown. When he cut to the right, Kenny was in position. Just keep running. He would have run right to the end zone. But those are fresh mistakes. But he's had his opportunities to make plays and he's converted on those, and that's big. So I'd say Bryce Yates has done a nice job when we've asked him to go in there and make some plays.
last year in this matchup, it turned into a little bit of a blowout. Eli goes down for the year. Was there a lot of focus or talk about this game last year and just trying to avenge that loss?
Nah, not really. Last year's last year. This year's this year. We got to keep our quarterback on his feet. He's got to get the ball out and not get tackled from behind and get rolled up on, which is what happened a year ago. And we got to make plays. Nothing, no revenge. It's about just playing football and executing.
In the West Virginia game, I think in the back seven, you really only seem to rotate due to injury. Do you have the depth to rotate? Louisville probably won't run 90 plays on Saturday, but do you have the depth to rotate more to get, to keep guys a little bit fresher?
In what position?
And in the back seven on defense, I mean, linebackers, secondary.
We do. We did a poor job last week of rotating. We talked about a rotation, a staff meeting at noon today. So, we'll rotate more guys. We can, we should, and we need to. We got to keep guys fresh because you never know when you're going to get to 90 plays or 100. But I think we become stronger when we got more guys that we can count on, and we got guys that we can count on. Like Nick Lappy, Cam Lindsey's got to play more. I think he played 6 snaps last week. We got to get him out there and give those other guys breaks.
The ACC this week, I think, fined Syracuse for, they said, faking injuries. I mean, is that something that you heard in the offseason that the elite told you, hey, we're looking out for this? Or?
Yeah, it's been, I think, all over the news. I mean, it was a big thing. They talked about, they changed the rule to where if you fake an injury, you're going to lose a timeout. The ball's got to be set. So it's something that, has been going on for years across the country. You've seen some bad ones. I think I may mention it to you, maybe I didn't. We had an issue, and I'm not going to put up with fake injuries. We played at Tennessee. I could see it clear as day. They had the ball. Tennessee had the ball on about the 15-yard line, and to our right, and Keyshawn Camp couldn't get off the field, and he went down all by himself. There was no one that did what Syracuse did, tell him to go down. He went down. You go back and watch the tape, and I called a timeout. Because it's not that because you couldn't get out. That was our defense's fault. We got to sub properly, and if you can't sub properly, you got problems. And again, we work on substitutions all the time. We actually had a little period after practice just making sure whether it's a timeout or regular defense that we can get our guys off the field. We haven't had that problem.
Is it ever concerned that like a guy would have a real injury and whoever at the ACC would see it and say, that's not real.
That really concerned me because I'll go crazy. On the ACC, but like last week, people boo you when guys get hurt. Guys are going to get hit in the stomach. I go out there last week and Carruthers is down and he's, puking and gagging, and I'm looking and the referees are looking and when a guy's hurt, when a guy I saw the brief video, and I didn't watch the whole game. Someone sent it to me Monday or Tuesday, whatever day that news came out, and that's faking an injury. That's what they're trying to eliminate and get out of the game because it's embarrassing, really. Guys are going to get hurt, period. We know they're going to get banged up, whether it's kicked in the stomach or what. I don't even know what Zach's deal was, but I didn't really find out there because he couldn't really talk because he was busy on his side spitting up. So I'm just glad his back wasn't sore. We talked about his back.
When it comes to the quarterback position, handling it, personnel decisions, has your approach as the head coach and your involvement in it changed in the last 2 years?
Involvement with what?
Quarterback decisions, personnel.
Yeah.
What you do with the quarterback?
No, it really hasn't changed. I think again, I'm going to let it be with our offense coordinator and quarterback coach on what we do at that position. We got 3 guys that can play. We got a lot of faith in Eli and what he does. And like I said, we got to protect him. He didn't have a great game last time. He'll have a great game this week. He's had a great week of practice, but we're counting on him. He's got a high pressure job. Everybody's looking at him and doesn't see what happens. We got max protection. We get him hit the first play of the game. That's not good. That's not fair to him. We got to do a better job across the board. It's everybody. It's receivers being in the right spot so he doesn't have to hang on to the ball and him pulling the trigger.
Pat, just curious if you had any reaction of the ACC scheduling news, just adding a league game and just the implications.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I think we may have talked about that a month ago, that I expected that to come. Everybody else is doing it. I always feel like we shouldn't be the last ones to do it. So I'm happy with that. I think everybody playing at the same level and us going to 10 Power Fours, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a bad thing for FCS and Group of 5. I think it's crowding the way where they don't get many games. They're going to struggle to find games. It's going to be Group of 5 conferences playing Group of 5 conferences, and I think it's really for FCS guy, Rhode Island coming here or Youngstown State. I think those are money games for them that keeps their athletic department rolling. I think it's going to take a hit on them. but we can't worry about them. We got to worry about the Power Four.
You're retiring a big number on Saturday. Can you just talk about, what he's meant to the program and how exciting it is to do that?
Yeah, I wish I could have coached that guy. I mean, that guy's an unbelievable football player. He's unbelievable at Pitt. He had an incredible NFL career. I can't say enough good things about him, but the thing I'll say about him is I didn't know him as a player. I didn't get to coach him, but you watch his motor. If you watch any videotape on him, he's an amazing football player that plays with an attitude every down. Is he the biggest guy in the world? No, but like that chest cavity of his is gigantic. He's got a big heart, not only on the field but off the field. For what he gives back to the University of Pittsburgh, I mean, he's around. Our kids love seeing him here in the summers that he was still playing. We're excited to get him back this weekend. Well deserved, probably overdue.
Were there ever any times, 2010 to 2013, you were scouting tape of an opponent, and it just happened you were watching tape of that opponent playing Pitt, and you noticed him? Did it ever stand out like that?
No, when I was at Michigan State, 2010 to 2013, there was none. Matter of fact, the only time I saw him was at an awards banquet. I don't know what year it was, down in Atlanta, and I remember going, "Who is this little guy?" Like, golly, he's getting all these awards. I think we had, I don't know if it was Darquez Denard or Trey Waynes was getting an award that same year, where I obviously had an opportunity to go, watch those guys get that award. But no, I didn't get to watch them until I got here. You're kind of so locked into who you're playing in the Big Ten. And we didn't play Pitt that year. We played Pitt in 2007. I knew who LaShawn McCoy was. Saw him live in color.
All good?
All right.